it is about that time to put Kenpachi on my tier list. Where I deem him fit at? Obviously, there's a lot of controversy behind this character in terms of is he good, is he bad? Turns out, low investment, he's probably the worst. High investment, he's basically the best. Kind of a weird one. Obviously, there is a bit of an in-between, but even with the in-between, he still needs a lot of investment. Like I'm honestly looking at this Kenpachi, there isn't any like middle, none of that. You know, with every other SSR, of course, you know, as building them up, you kind of gain a few dupes, not go too much into them, and they would still perform well. Whereas Kenpachi, and again with now there being other characters in line, aka for example the Holification Ichigo, even the SR Ichigo right now, who's actually doing pretty well. This SR Ichigo, do not sleep on this man. I have, and the things that I've been seeing coming from this character alone has been pretty crazy to what some of the CM players have managed to build with him. But in terms of there being other characters in the running of the main DPS slot, it does kind of put Kenpachi in that position on whether or not if he's worth it. If it is a character that requires a lot of investment, then in reality it's not exactly worth pulling for, and unfortunately that is the truth of the matter. Low investment, you're going to just resort to using Ichigo. Again, if you are unhappy with the SR Ichigo and you want Kenpachi in that case for your slash team, then by all means do so. But again, building this Kenpachi, playing him in a team plays comp, it's so awkward, it's so weird, and I think that's another big reason why people are like, you know what, I'll stick with what I've got. And to those that do have Kenpachi, everyone is dogging on him, being like, bro, where is that damage? And again, unfortunately, it's like, for example, I think when it comes to the Kenpachi, I've said it before, B2 is the sweet spot. You want to get that crit, right? And then realistically at that point you have to go heavy on the weapon card. You have to go heavy on the weapon card. So that's why I say that with this Kenpachi, even though it's kind of like a low setup, but it's still such a high investment to what is required. I mean, realistically it's not as horrible, because of course getting weapon cards isn't as bad when gaining the character, right? Because you're only going off, well, because the pools are half the amount of if you want a character dupes, but even with that investment, it is just way too much in my personal opinion, and hence why I still say, if you've got Ichigo, stick by that man. Now, the other awkward thing about this unit is the team comp side of it, because you would think that, as he is a slash unit, I'll bring slash teammates with him. Byakuya really doesn't do anything for him, and the rotation play with Byakuya being the battlefield skill user for slash elements has a horrible rotation play for Kenpachi. Just an absolute horrible rotation play. So immediately he's thrown out. So realistically you have two options to play with Kenpachi. Number one is running double support with Yachiru and Urahara. Obviously with Urahara you can still run his support set. With Yachiru, if you want to apply the Byakuya set, then you can do so that way you can get her ult charge a lot more sooner. Because realistically, that's all you're going to be doing, spamming her skills, her ult charge, and then getting her out of there, so that way you can get the spotlight. Because of course, you actually does give, an extra 1.5 more times to Kenpachi in terms of the buff that she applies to any other character, of course. So you can really realistically run double support, right? Or the alternative would be you can either have Yachiru or Urahara. A lot of people are in favor of Urahara, of course. And as I've literally just did a video on it, Aizen. The rotation play with Aizen is pretty disgusting if you ask me, and it just helps that it helps Kenpachi a little bit more in preparing for his enhanced attack, and more importantly, even though there's a lot of, even though Kenpachi has damage reduction on his kit to kind of absorb some of the damage that he dishes out, because ultimately you are going to be standing in front of the enemy trying to get his spiritual pressure kind of maxed up so that way you can do your enhanced attack. Result to that, you will be taking damage, right? Aizen gives him protection in that. You've got to keep in mind, I believe he can absorb 2 hits, like 100%. So there are key things about Aizen that do a lot more for Kenpachi for you to result to get more damage out. in terms of getting your enhanced play on practically every rotation play, as well as having that more survivability on top of to what his kit provides. So again, a bit of an awkward one when it comes to the team comp in terms of the actual battlefield user that is best for him, as well as the alternative play running double support. So it's kind of awkward. Makes it so that you have to change up Yachiru a tad bit running the Byakuya set, so that we can get the ult gauge a lot sooner for her. In terms of if you do run 2 supports, that is being Urahara and Yachiru, of course. So out of all the DPSs, yeah, Kenpachi has really shifted things. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one in terms of the Kenpachi build. Now, one thing which I will also mention is that obviously when it comes to a low investment Kenpachi, it's going to be an awkward one, and I still stand by to say that people need to run him with Aizen. It will literally just help you out so much. But with a low invested Kenpachi, let's say you just got his initial kit, it realistically is going to be kind of like the same premise in terms of the rotation play to what I typically do. But I guess for a raw Kenpachi, if we say that, realistically you're going to be obviously using Aizen here, right? Triggering Aizen's counter seal off. Kenpachi comes in, and then oh wait, no, I messed that up. Oh god, I messed that up. Hold up, pause. Okay, so let's let's do that again. So you get Urahara going off again, right? Again, this will be valid for a low build Kenpachi. So what you want to do is you want to activate Kenpachi, get out of him, go straight into Aizen, and then you're gonna have to do this twice. So I think that's the only biggest difference with the low investment Kenpachi, is that he will require 2 rotation plays. So obviously you want to maximize damage here, and then what would happen with the second rotation is that you would only half fill the spiritual gauge. So then at that point you could go back into Urahara if you choose to, just to kind of get the technique points going. It's up to you, but realistically what you would have to do is you would have to go back into Aizen, get that second trigger off right here, so boom, and then you would go back into Kenpachi, and then you should have 2 of your frenzy points at the ready, so that way you would do your run-up attack, and then you would have your enhanced attack right here at the ready. So it would require 2 Aizen rotation plays for you to set up your Kenpachi. That's the issue on hand, and of course damage output wise will all be slightly lower to how things are right now for me, of course. But bruh, this is a beast of it. I just can't get over it. So it's a difficult one in terms of where people look at him, because to those that have invested into Kenpachi, for example myself, who has him completely maxed out, he is a disgusting character. He is absolutely. There's a reason why I'm claiming this man to be an absolute behemoth of a DPS character. But at the same time, I can understand that as a low investment, he is dog in the waters, straight up. So we'll do things right. Let me actually put you there, and then Rangiku, you will be going right there. In my opinion, she's kind of like the, going forward now with the game itself and all the characters releasing, or the news characters should I say, there's a lot of abnormal damage on hand, right? And obviously there's that brand new stat we're kind of waiting on to see on how that's going to help us out and how that's going to be farmable. But Rangiku right now is full on supporting that, but mostly for the thrust element, that's just a given. On top of that, that Ash Blade, I'm so sure you guys have noticed, but that Ash Blade is actually doing a hefty amount of damage. In certain cases, for some players, that Ash Blade is outbeating certain DPS characters, which is crazy. I mean, then again, if you do have a maxed out or a duped up, etc., built up well DPS character, then obviously you'll be doing absolutely fine. But in the lower investment side of it, yeah, that Ash Blade is outshining, as you could say. So definitely one of the better SR supports in the game right now. But where will my boy Kenpachi go? That is the question. Because there's 2 sides of him. Obviously with my Kenpachi being completely maxed out, I will be placing him right here. If I'm being completely honest. He is just doing an insane amount of damage. This is where my Kenpachi would go. In a low investment view, I would say, if I'm being completely real, he would probably go right here. Oh no, oh, yuck, get the hell out of here. He would go right here in terms of a low investment. And when I say low investment, I'm talking about B2 with I guess A1 with a C1. Yeah, C1, A1, and then B2. And even if you do put dupes into his weapon, I think he would still be around about this region, if anything. I mean, if you do get dupes on his weapon, he might be bumped up a little bit, but I think for the most part, that's kind of where I'm going to be sticking him in terms of low investment. If you got, like, I don't know, B0 across the board in his dupes, then some people, I could genuinely put him down here, and I get that, but I won't do him dirty that much. I'll kind of keep my Kenpachi at the sweet spot, but that's where I would say lowest value in terms of B2, A1, AC. If you haven't fully maxed out, that's basically the jump is insane. So that's just kind of like my verdict of things. Again, I can only go off from what I've experienced and where my Kenpachi's at, and I deem him here, if I'm being completely real. I truly do. But again, low investment. I wouldn't go. I'm not gonna go too horrible, but that's kind of predominantly where I would stick him at. But again, I know for damn sure some people would be like, nah, down you go, my boy, down you go. I mean, you could fight your case to say that a flatline Kenpachi is here, low investment is here, maxed out is here. There you go. I think that's kind of like the best way I can put it. So yeah, that is the controversy of Kenpachi. Goddamn Kenpachi, you really had to come in and just shake things up, like get a lot of people second guessing and figuring out on what the hell's going on with this character. Hectic, absolutely hectic.